Hi, everyone, and welcome to this special episode of Raise the Vibe with Liz. My friend and fellow Islander, Annie Myers, is joining me today for this full moon in Aquarius, and we're going to be talking about evolutionary astrology, the full moon, and what is in store for us today and moving forward in our lives. Annie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Liz. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Super excited about this conversation. Why don't you start off by sharing who you are and how you got into this?
I am Annie Myers. I'm just not someone who you would expect to be into astrology. I've spent much of my life just living in the very practical world, and probably in 2018, I just really started, like, so much in my life started falling apart. And kind of unbeknownst to me, and what I would find out later is that I was having a very significant Pluto transit through my chart. And there was a point in my life where I would say, hit my proverbial bottom and just really began sort of beseeching the universe for help. Like, what do I need to do? And it was early in 2020, before COVID really shut us down. I was in that space of just literally like, show me what I need to do, and I'm gonna do it. And I popped my computer open, and there was an ad on Facebook for a Vedic astrology class here on Vashon Island. So I just hit the button and said yes, and signed up. And that was sort of the beginning of the rabbit hole that I've been going down for the last year and some, since just before COVID hit. And it's been an amazing tool of transformation for me. Just better than any therapy I've ever been through, or it's just an amazing tool for looking inward and discovering one's own psyche. So that's kind of how I fell into astrology.
That's awesome. Had you dabbled in anything else before? And thank you for your service, being a firefighter, for us, and local beekeeper. Thank you for caretaking the planet as well. So did you dabble in anything? I see your feathers in the window, and I see your singing bowl there. Was there anything that spiritually going on in your life that would have opened the door for this next step?
That is all part of this process. Along with astrology, there have been many other kind of explorations through Buddhism and meditation, and lots of different things, but not really. I would say that I really, prior to this, lived in a very practical, that stuff was maybe stuff that I was always interested in, but really never gave myself permission to explore any of that sort of woo-woo sort of, I would say that I'm a very practical minded, science-based person, generally speaking. And then I would also say that none of this really contradicts that part of me, that I really see the connection between the real physical world and what to some people might seem like esoteric or spiritual or woo-woo kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
We live in this system. This is a system of energy that we live in. And just because we don't fully understand all the rules and laws of the system doesn't mean they don't exist. And so I kind of see astrology in the same realm as the energetics that tell birds when to migrate, or whales when it's time to go to do their migration, and how they navigate. How do they do that? It's all energy, and we don't see it. And so that's kind of my take on this.
Nice. That does bring the science. And I love all of the science that's being brought in today, where we're kind of bringing up to speed all of these outer things that have been functioning in our lives, energetically, and kind of matching them and marrying them with science, which I think is really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we talked about this the other day, but one of the main kind of triggering points for me that took me down this road was I had an injury and I had ongoing chronic physical pain, like intense physical pain, and just not being able to get a handle on it, and just coming to the understanding that the mind body connection, that part of, how we can really change our physiology through meditation and presence, and and that sort of went from the hard science to a little bit more of the metaphysical. And it's like, well, I don't necessarily understand how this works, but I can see that it works. And there's a lot of, just because I don't understand it doesn't mean there's not an explanation.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yesterday when we were talking, you mentioned a couple books that were part of your path too. Gary Zukav, Seed of the Soul, Use Your Plants Wisely, Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul.
Yeah, all of those things. And really the very first book that I mentioned was literally a book by an old physical medicine doctor in New York City called Healing Back Pain. And then he wrote a second book that was called The Mind Body Connection. And that, and he's a physical medicine doctor, this was not a spiritually directed book, but it definitely was moving in that direction. And I love that. I love how neuroscience is connecting with mysticism. Anyway, that's part of my path to this place of astrology. And as far as astrology, so I took the Vedic astrology class here on the island, and then that really piqued my interest. And then I signed up for another class that was about a 3-month-long class in Western astrology. So one of the fascinating things about astrology is how it has evolved over time. Through almost every culture has some form of astrology that evolved alongside of astronomy. And that the astrology piece is more of a social science. It's kind of a noticing correlations between, the seasons, the times, and personality traits, or, the archetypal energy signatures that come through the signs of the zodiac. So I took that class, a 3-month class, and then I began to really kind of search. I knew that this was something I wanted to do, and I began to search for, what I wanted to study, and I landed with evolutionary astrology, which was kind of literally the evolution of astrology, into the modern age with the discovery of the outer planets, and as it was kind of presented by Jeffrey Wolf Green. So that's what I'm studying, is evolutionary astrology. And there are many, many, many types of astrology, and they're all valid. And it's like, it amazes me to listen to professional astrologers, and how much they can pull out of what's happening, with the planetary movements in our system.
Awesome. Describe that a little bit for our listeners who might not know too much about astrology besides, checking their favorite astrologer.
Right. So to me, what astrology is, when you look at your astrology chart, and I don't know, you're looking at the astrology wheel with the signs of the zodiac, and it's all cut into these 12 pie pieces. And what you're really looking at, is an actual literal interpretation of the sky, of the constellations that were present in the sky, when you personally were born, at the place you were born, when you essentially individuated onto this planet. So when they cut the cord from your mother and you became an individual, no longer, now you're a self-sufficient being. So that's sort of the energy signature that was present at that time and place you were born. And so it's literally a map of the energy that was, in essence, solidified in you.
Awesome. Can you break down some of those pieces of the chart?
I can. So basically visualization would help, but if you're familiar at all with the zodiac, so there's 12 zodiac signs, and they begin with the sign of Aries. And each one of those 12 archetypal energies sort of represents a specific part of our lives, an energy expression in our lives. And you want me to go through them all just real quickly?
Sure.
So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and Aries is essentially springtime, right? It's the beginning of the season. So Aries is the energy of initiation. It's how we initiate new experiences. And when we look at our own astrology chart, you'll see that like I think in your chart, your first house is not Aries, it's Leo. But wherever that first house in your chart falls, we add that Aries energy into that part of your life, because that's the first sign of the zodiac. The second sign of the zodiac is Taurus. And Taurus is about our values. It's about what we value. It's about how we meet our own needs, or how we get our needs met. And you can think through the wheel, almost like if you think of Aries as being born, Taurus is recognizing, oh, I live in this physical world. I have needs. How do I take care of those needs? The third sign, and you can also look at all of these, there are 3 signs that represent each of the 4 elements. So earth, fire, air, and water. And as you go around the zodiac, these mature in a way.
You mentioned in a house. So I've heard, sun sign, moon sign, ascending sign, houses.
Right. So it all gets pretty complicated. So each of these, if someone had a chart that were, in alignment with the natural zodiac, Aries would be the first, Taurus would be the second, Gemini would be the third, Cancer would be the fourth, etc. And so no matter how that wheel lands for you, those archetypal energies are present in that particular house. So for you, your 4th house cusp is in Scorpio, but we would add Cancerian energy to that house, because Cancer is the 4th sign of the zodiac. I don't know if that makes sense, if we're getting too scrambled here. Like I said, we were talking before the show, a person could study just the archetypes for 30 years. So how to embody, how do we represent this whole thing in an hour show? But
right.
So I'll just do this. So, mostly what people know about astrology, like you said, is their sun, moon, and their ascendant. And those are all extremely important things in our chart. And then I'll say that in evolutionary astrology, it's slightly different. The first thing we look at in evolutionary astrology is the Pluto placement in the chart.
Interesting.
But do you want to just talk about sun, moon, and ascendant for a second?
Sure.
All right. And you want to use your chart?
Sure. Go ahead.
Do you want to screen share it or
I can do that. Yeah.
And I'll just do a quick read on your chart for your audience.
Great. Okay, it's up. Can you see it?
Nope, I cannot see it.
It says I'm screen sharing.
It says, Liz,
Okay.
it says that you're screen sharing, but I don't see it.
Yeah, you might not be able to see it, but everybody else can.
Okay, now I can see it. And I was wrong. I actually was looking at a different chart. Your ascendant is in Cancer, not Leo. All right, there we are. So our sun sign kind of represents the primary energy in the way that we experience like this incarnation. So the sun is Leo energy. And Leo energy is how we self-actualize. It is where we shine. It's where we have fun, where we play, like where we see ourselves as an individual. So wherever our sun falls in our chart, so we're going to synthesize that Leo energy into that sign. So if you see that your sun is in Capricorn, but it falls in the 6th house, which the 6th house cusp is in Sagittarius. So you would synthesize those energies together. So Sagittarius is the seeker, the philosopher, Sagittarius is where that 9th house energy, where we find our personal truth, right? And then the sun, so Capricorn is the builder. And so wherever Capricorn is in our chart, so Capricorn is about more about organization and structure and discipline, and how we build the structures in our lives that support this existence. So your sun in Sag, right? I mean, your sun in Capricorn in the sixth house. Sixth house is about the way, the things that we do in our daily lives that create peace and ease and structure in our lives. So the routines and habits. So if I get up in the morning and I make my bed and I brush my teeth and I meditate and I work out, I'm generating, health and well-being in my life. So those are the themes that you would kind of think on around where your sun sign sits in your chart. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
Okay. And then your moon sign. So the moon in our chart represents the way, kind of our inner self, our ego, our inner sense of security. And so moon rules Cancer. So your moon falls in Leo in the second house. So that Leo energy is that sun energy, right? So that where do I shine, right? Where do I creatively express? So that would indicate that Liz feels secure when she is creatively expressing. And then second house, the theme of second house is, how do I meet my needs, right? So we talked about this yesterday. Liz has a podcast or a YouTube channel where she creatively expresses, and that is literally how she meets her own needs.
That's great.
Right?
Yeah, that's fun.
And then the ascendant in our chart represents literally, so if you look at this horizontal line across the chart, and everything that is above that line literally represents the constellations visible in the sky when you were born, at the place you were born. And that left side cusp where you see the AC, the ascendant, that's literally what was ascending into the sky, right, as you began your existence on this planet. And so our ascendant sort of represents the way that things ascend in our life, right? The way that they play out, the realm in which we experience the things that come into our life. And your ascendant is in the sign of Cancer. And Cancerian energy is about, it's the first water sign, and that is about how we experience things in our emotional bodies. So that Cancerian energy, so finding that emotional equilibrium, experiencing things. So remember, we talked about Aries being the first sign of the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to add Aries energy to that house. And Aries is about instinctual action. And so, someone with a Cancerian or a Cancer ascendant would be someone who acts instinctually through emotion. And so it'd be very important, for that person to really dig deep and understand, their emotional being.
That's amazing.
Because
that's completely what my life has been like, going to massage school and finding polarity therapy and shamanism and going to my 4-year healing program and learning Barbara Brennan's work and my journey to trust my intuition and, all the ways that I love to be creative in my life. It's so fascinating. And like, how can we take this and instead of, looking online at my favorite astrologer and going, oh, that's why I feel like this today, or, whatever, how can we bring it into our lives so, we can benefit from this by looking at it differently?
Well, I think, getting your own chart, which is really easy to do. I think you can see on your screen share the AstroDensed website. like anybody can go to that, and you can create an account and pull up your own chart. So a person could do that and print out your own chart, or go to a professional astrologer and have your chart read and get a printout of your own chart. But something that I do. So for me, I have a Taurus ascendant. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus moves pretty quickly around the chart. So I follow Venus around the chart. And as Venus is transiting in Libra right now. And so I just, every once a week or so, or sometimes I pull up my chart and I look at what's going on, and I really will sit with it and kind of meditate on it. And then, think about what is Libra energy about? And what is Venus energy about? This is just for me personally as an example. And Libra energy is about how we how we understand what resonates and what doesn't, how we understand what do I keep, what do I let go of, what's mine, what's not mine. It's Libra is the scales, right? And so just really sort of digging deep into the layers of what that Libra energy is, where it falls in my chart. So I find it super beneficial. That might be a little bit too much for some people, but I think just getting a basic understanding of the archetypes and where they fall in what place they fall. We all embody all 12 of the archetypes. It's just that in wherever planets fall or certain points, those things are emphasized more in those areas of your life. And is that the answer you were looking for? Like, how can we?
Yeah, definitely. And how can we use this for soul growth? Because you used it for your own personal soul growth where you're going through your Pluto transit.
Well, in evolutionary astrology, we look through, like I said, we look at it's a little bit different. So evolutionary astrology sort of looks at sort of through the lens that we're here for a purpose. We're not just here by random, but we're here for a purpose. Although we live in this system and we are subject to the rules and laws of this system, but we are always, we always have free will to do what we choose with the energy. But we look at the Pluto placement in our chart first. If that chart is a map of that energy signature, then Pluto kind of represents how we transmute the experience of this lifetime into soul growth, into wisdom over time, right? So we're tracking the evolution of the soul over time.
Nice.
So do you want to use your chart or mine?
Sure, jump in anywhere.
So for you, you're Pluto in Virgo. So Pluto takes 240 some years to go around the zodiac. So I find it fascinating when we talk about generational energies, like baby boomers and Gen Xers. What you're really talking about are Pluto generations.
Wow.
So you and I and anybody born between 1959 and 1972 is Pluto and Virgo generation. And so Virgo is the energy of Virgo is about, it's about the details of this physical existence. Like I think I gave you an example using Taurus as the first earth sign, and it is about meeting our physical needs.
Mm-hmm.
Virgo is the second earth sign, and Capricorn is the third. So if Taurus says, I need shelter, right? The energy of Virgo draws up the plans to build that shelter to the last detail. It's about the details of this physical existence. And then Capricorn builds the structure, right? So those are the earth signs. So that Pluto and Virgo, and your Pluto falls in the third house. And the third house is the house of Gemini, so Mercury. All right, so we're synthesizing all these energies in your chart. So that would say that this soul came into this lifetime to transmute the experience of this lifetime, literally through curiosity, through learning, through taking in information, processing it, discerning what's true and what's not true, right? And then looking across the chart at the polarity point of Pluto is the 9th house, to sort out, what do I believe? What is my personal truth? And so that's your Pluto journey in this lifetime, according
Wow.
to your chart. according
Nailed
to-
it. Totally.
And so then we would look at the nodal axis of the moon. So the nodal axis of the moon is where and this is maybe too much detail, but it's just 2 points in your chart that represent where the moon touches the ecliptic, right? Where the moon, and they're always 180 degrees from one another. And for you, you have the north node and the south nodes of the moon. And so in EA, we would look at that and would say that the journey to get to your Pluto, the path to your Pluto experience is through the nodal axis. And so we're going to move away from the south node and towards the north node. So your south node is also, it's not tightly conjunct your Pluto, but it's in the same house and the same sign. So that would indicate that south node is kind of what we already know. It's our comfort zone. If you believe in reincarnation, it would say that I've already done this in the past life, right? Or I'm comfortable in this place. And what I need to do is move away to the polarity point, to Pisces for you. And Pisces is about where we literally go to let go of any idea that we have control of anything, right? If Virgo is the details of this physical existence, then Pisces is the ineffable, the inexplicable, the spiritual, like, I just have to admit, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know? And I just have to admit that I really have no control, and I have to let go and turn it over to the universe. And so that would be the path. You know,
And
that Gemini energy and that Virgo energy wants to process.
Totally. All the time. I just have to know. That's my addiction to, psychics in my life. Since I'm psychic, I seek out psychics, right? Because I got to know. I'm claircognizant. So I know, so I need to know. And then I even, like I told you yesterday, have the little Post-it on my mirror, just release and trust, right? Because I have to. That's something that I work on all the time, is to release that not knowing place and trust I'm in the right place at the right time constantly.
And it's hard because, most of us have, these intense polarity points in our chart where we are, we're this and we're that. And it creates kind of this dis-ease, right? Like, I want to be over here in my comfort zone, but in order to grow, we have to move away from that comfort zone and towards what we don't know.
So true.
And everyone has that path in their chart. It just might be in a different place. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. Like mine, my Pluto is in Virgo, but it's in my 5th house. And that 5th house place is like, where do you shine? And so for my whole, like what I'm doing right now is so far outside of what I am comfortable doing. It's kind of incredible. It's like, but so that's my Pluto. That's my Pluto is in that 5th house. And we often, where we find Pluto in our chart, we struggle there sometimes. And then my north node, south node is similar to yours, is that my north, or actually opposite of yours, my south node is in the 9th house and my north node is in the 3rd house. So that polarity point is like, let go of what you believe, like, and come down to this Gemini point of, you don't know, you have no idea. So stop pretending you do. Stop pretending that you know the answers, and go get curious. and
Nice.
learn to communicate.
I'm so glad you're learning to get curious and communicate, and you've learned about this evolutionary astrology so you can bring it to us. It's so fascinating. So fascinating. What does astrology say about what we're experiencing right now over this last year?
After we spoke yesterday, I just kind of had a little whatever, like to pull up the chart of our community for this moon.
Nice.
And I don't know if you can screen share that for a second, but
Sure.
that says a lot. If I can kind of sort of read what's happening in the planets right now, and then talk about our community, this is a fascinating chart. So you see all those blue lines in there? There's
Yes.
blue lines, red lines. So when we have blue lines, those are energies that work well, that work easily together. And where we see red lines, those are those opportunities for growth, right? Those are the tension-based lines. And I just kind of bring your attention to there's two specific blue triangles there. And so this is Vashon Island, right?
Mhm.
Our community. And then I'm going to talk about when you look at the outer ring, see the little green symbols on the outside, those are the transiting planets. Those are the planets are right now, or where they were this morning at the full moon.
Nice.
Or actually the whole chart is. And so when you see what's happening in the world right now, so down at in Taurus, sort of that bottom quarter, people will have to know the signs. I don't know if it's just going to go over people's heads if they don't know the signs. I wish I could had a way to point, but so in the bottom right hand corner, there's a little, oh, there you go. So where your sun sign is, so Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn right there, right? So Pluto's been transiting in Capricorn since 2008. And most of us remember in 2008, like our entire, like the housing market crashed. So Pluto is about, Capricorn is about the structures, those structures that we build to support our physical existence, right? And we are seeing as where Pluto transits, Pluto creates, so Pluto's the god of death, like something must die so that something new can be reborn. And Pluto's about transmutation or metamorphosis. And so Pluto transiting through Capricorn is saying the structures that we have are no longer sufficient. They're no longer supporting us. And so we need to change. Maybe we need to burn down the house and start over, or maybe we need to do an intense renovation, but the structures, the financial structures, government structures, and we see that in our world, right?
Yeah, we do. We need a renovation.
We need a renovation, but why, right?
Yeah.
So what's happening that creates that need? And it is the process of evolution of our species. And so when you and I were born, so back in the 60s, there was a conjunction of the planet Pluto and Uranus in that sign of Virgo. And it was at that point that technology just began to explode.
Wow.
Like from the 1960s to now, it's unrecognizable, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we're doing right now, it was not feasible. Talking to each other, across space, on a computer, having a real-time conversation. None of that was, we could do it on the telephone. And so this explosion in technology and Uranus, so at the very top of the chart is the little green symbol for Taurus, right? And the planet Uranus represents technology. It represents innovation, transformation, like rapid aha insight kind of moments that we have. And it's the ruler of Aquarius. And so that Uranus in Taurus is sort of lighting up. To me, this is my interpretation now. It's like people, we are not we have to change the way we're living on this planet. Taurus is an earth sign. We need to have new ideas, new inspiration. We need to check our technology and make it be sustainable. So we have Pluto in Capricorn, an earth sign, Uranus and Taurus, an earth sign. And then everybody remembers that, or maybe you do or don't, that at the beginning of 2020, that the Great Conjunction, you remember that?
Yeah, talk about that.
And that was when basically Jupiter and Saturn came together at the very last degrees of Capricorn and then moved into Aquarius. And so we've had a ton of Aquarius energy since then. And Pluto will go into Aquarius in 2024. And so Aquarius energy is about who am I uniquely within the collective. It's about the individual within the collective, how we maintain our authentic individuality, right? Our sovereignty, but remain in the tribe, in the group, right? And so we see that energy in a big way. It's like, everybody is, as the structures crumble, everybody's having to figure out, well, what do I do? What are my talents? And everybody is expressing their own autonomy. People are pushing back against those structures that are no longer working for them. And so we're just in this period of time where we're trying to sort out through this big change in the way that we are going to govern ourselves. And then we have Neptune. So the little blue symbol that's 2 to the right from Taurus, right there. So see that Neptune is up there. Neptune is in Pisces. And as you recall, that Pisces energies is where we just have to let go. We have to let go of our attachments to what has been so that something new can come into its place, right? So there's all of this energy that's supporting this big change, but it's very disruptive. And a lot of people are feeling a lot of despair. They're feeling, whatever, like there's all of these problems, but I have no idea what I could possibly do to be part of the solution. So there's this sense of like this threat, this existential threat. Nobody really knows what they can do. And what the astrology is, where the astrology is helpful, is that to really reach for the higher vibrational energy of each of these archetypes, like especially Aquarius. So we have so many people right now that are trying to find their own creative expression, like the who am I in this changing world? And it creates a lot of polarity between people. And so I think it's so important for people to really try to embrace that those higher vibrations, if you will, of Aquarius, which is, I know who I am, I know what my creative talents are, and I know how I can contribute to the solution of whatever problems that you see that we're facing. So that's the astrology of today. And what I love about this chart with Vashon, those trines just really speak to the ability of this community right here, this energy signature in this community, to find harmony. It's like I don't have time to go into the whole chart, I don't think, but it's really a wonderful chart. I was really surprised when I pulled it up. There's lots of cool stuff there.
Yeah, you can definitely spend a few minutes going over that chart if you want. And I do agree, Vashon does have the capacity to really be in harmony. We're really blessed here.
Yeah.
In our community.
So that we'll just start at the top of the chart. So that Uranus and Taurus says you need to find new ideas about how to live sustainably, right? About how to support the earth, about we need to be cognizant, Uranus, and we need to be innovative about things that are related to Taurus, which were how do we meet our needs in this physical world, right? Mm-hmm. And then that blue line that is the triangle that's going down to the left to that Mars and Mercury conjunction in Virgo. Remember I said Virgo is the details. How do we make a plan? How do we draw up the blueprints for this idea that's happening up here in Taurus, right? And then the blue line that goes across to Pluto, it says, all right, we got a plan, let's build it. Let's make it happen, right? So that's just this beautiful earth triangle that we see in there. And then that if we go one sign to the left of Taurus up top, we see the North Node in Gemini. And you'll remember like the North Node is what we need to be going towards, right? Right now, the North Node is in Gemini, the South Node is in Sagittarius. It's a little segue, but the lower vibration of Sagittarius is those kind of you must comply with the old belief system, right? In Gemini, the North Node in Gemini says, no, you need to move towards thinking on your own. You need to find your own truth. You don't have to believe what you've been told your whole life. You can go over here to Gemini and find your own truth.
Sweet.
Okay? So North Node in Gemini. Now we've got the blue line that goes down to Venus in Libra. So the blue line going down to the left, Venus in Libra. Venus is the ruler of Libra, and Libra is that energy of like what's true, what's not true. So Gemini is asking us to think. Venus is down here in Libra saying, like, sort out what's true and what's not true. Think for yourself. You know, stop getting on YouTube and believing everything you read.
Yeah, hallelujah.
And think for yourself.
Yeah, right.
We got that other blue line from Venus that goes over to Saturn and Aquarius. And we talked a little bit yesterday about that Saturn and Capricorn energy. Everybody's hammering on Saturn right now. You know, we got to throw out the old system, burn down the house, so to speak, right? But Saturn has some great qualities. Saturn is the hard work that we do to create what we want. And so that Mars-Mercury conjunction is speaking positively to that Saturn energy, right? Like, how do we build it? Like, okay, people, let's get together and build this thing. So I was just shocked when this chart came up. It was like, oh my God, that is so cool.
That's amazing. And that speaks so true for what we're experiencing.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. God, I love that. What do you see for I know that we talked about maybe not, dipping down into the next, what's to come. But I think that, when people hear what's to come, they can prepare. So would you mind going into possibly a little bit about what you see and what's to come? What we're looking at our future?
Well, first of all, no one knows. We make our own future. Our future depends on what we do and how we act. I want to say one more thing about the full moon right now. And so we didn't even get there. So the full moon is conjunct Jupiter at the very last degrees of Aquarius, right? And so really asking people to embrace those higher vibrations of Aquarius energy. So full moons are about letting go of what no longer serves us. So if you follow the moon cycles, every full moon, we think about what to let go of. Every new moon, we think about what new we're going to bring into its place. So moon conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius, to me, this is Annie's interpretation of it, is to really let go of those lower vibration energies of Aquarius. Like, yes, we're all our own individual. Yes, we have sovereignty. Yes. But at some point, we have to start working together in order to fix. We have some serious issues that have to be addressed, and we're not going to do it individually. But each individual coming together in service of the collective can do it, if that makes sense. And so to me, that's what this full moon energy is bringing in. And then you were talking earlier, I really can't predict the future. I just can see the energy, and I choose. I mean, I could also throw a dark light on those energies, right?
Yeah.
Because every one of those archetypal energies has a high vibrational signature and a low. The the high vibration of that Capricorn Saturn energy is organization and hard work and putting your shoulder to the wheel kind of thing and getting the work done. And then the lower vibration of that is control. And the control is what we want to let go of, right? Everybody's feeling pressure of that control. And so anyway, so I cannot predict the future.
Yeah, but we get to choose our own timeline. And I think that, Annie, what you said about choosing those higher vibrational frequencies instead of, allowing ourselves to dip into the lower ones is really the choice, that we can personally make for ourselves and the collective.
That kind of brings us back to the beginning of our conversation. I mean, to me, that is what has been so useful to me in my own personal chart. I've done a really deep dive into my own chart. And whether all of the energy part is true or not true, it's still an incredibly useful tool to really dig deep, to go in and, peel the layers of the onion back and, think about, all of these archetypal energy signatures that are present in this chart exist in all of us, right? And it's just very useful to me to understand them and then to look deeply in my own psyche and see how can I up level this part of myself.
Nice. I love that. I want to circle back around to our moon today because that was one of our reasons for doing this special episode. And it's so fun to do this on this Aquarius moon. But I was tapping into the energies this morning, like I was telling you before our recording, that tapping in, and it's just like, I'm not getting anything. I'm not feeling anything. The only thing I was getting was this pause, like this lid has been put on, right? And it's just like this calm pause today.
It's a very, very good way to to describe sort of what's happening. So all of the outer planets from Jupiter all the way out to Pluto are they're in a retrograde phase right now. And so what retrograde is, because we're all moving around in the circles, right? So it's kind of like when you pass someone in your car and they appear for a moment to stand still, and then because you're moving faster, then they appear to be going backwards, but of course they're still moving forwards, right? So when a planet is in a retrograde phase, the energy of that planet sort of turns inward. So all of the energy from Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, and the asteroid Chiron, they're all retrograde right now. And it's really it's a pause. Everything is in a moment of pausing right now. And it's really asking us all to go inward. That's what you're feeling.
That inward, it really does feel that way.
And the other piece that we talked about too is that we're about to end Leo season. Like Leo is literally on the cusp of Virgo. And so, Leo is the energy of summertime. Leo is fun and play and go to the beach and, and then Virgo is that energy of, oh, it's time to get organized. It's time to start. I mean, literally, it's time to start preparing for winter, right? It's time to start getting our food stores in. It's the time of harvest. It's work time. And so we're about to really trip into that Virgo season. And we also have Mercury and Mars in Virgo. So if anybody's feeling the energy like now of like, ooh, I'd really like to get organized.
Right. Oh my gosh, I know. School's starting in a week. September looks like it's setting in already here. On Vashon, we've got our marine layer, whatever is going on, a cloudy day, chilly, feels like fall. Totally.
Yep. All that.
Totally can feel it creeping in already.
And all of these archetypals, this is Western astrology. So all of these energies, I mean, they are really literally based around the season. They are. They're, it's you can kind of see the energy shift and change, and how they correspond to those the signs of the zodiac.
That's fun. And it helps us to get in rhythm with the planet, which I love.
Yep, definitely.
And I think the more that we can do that, the better off we'll be.
Yes, we definitely, I don't know how much time we have, but one of the things that I see that's really causing us a lot of distress is that our technology is evolving faster than our biology. That we're literally, we're getting away from, we've had, thousands of years of evolution on this planet. And then all of a sudden we have this explosion of technology that it's literally, our brains, our physical brain structures are not able to keep up with the evolution of technology. And that's a whole other topic.
Wow. Right. That's funny. That makes me think about when I'm getting energetic upgrades, or when I feel like Gaia is evolving and my physical body needs to catch up. Being an empath, I'm super sensitive to what's going on in the environment. And I'm sensitive to what's going on in the collective. And anytime there's an upgrade, there is this feeling I get inside my physical body where it needs to catch up energetically. So that's interesting that you say that. And I find, yeah, that's true. And that's evolution, right?
It is. And there's nothing wrong with technology. It is part of our evolution, but we literally have to my opinion is we kind of have to really slow down and use that Gemini energy, right, to get curious and figure out, what's actually happening here. How is literally our technology is hijacking our limbic system, our old lizard brains, right? We're, we feel, an example would be like, somebody says something mean to me on Facebook and I feel threatened, right?
Yep.
And it's just this, we're acting out of our old biology and seeing threats where there are no threats. And we're just having to learn to manage that. And we need to become conscious of it so that we can sort it out.
No, I'm glad you pointed that out. It's so true. All the new ways we have to deal with our lizard brain.
Yes.
And adapt and have awareness. Gosh. All right. So back to this full moon. So what's 3 things that we definitely need to know about this moon today?
Well, one I already said is really striving to embrace the higher vibration of that Aquarius energy. And that, in a really big way is going back to Leo, right? So the sun is in Leo, and the moon is in Aquarius. So Leo says, who am I? What are my creative talents? How do I express my creative talents? How do I, we have to understand ourselves and what we have to contribute before we can move and make that contribution to the collective, right? So who am I and what do I have to contribute? And really, I don't want to, it's like, get out of our own. I'll speak to one other thing that's happening in the sky, and that is the asteroid Chiron. Chiron is what's called the wounded healer. And Chiron is in the sign of Aries. So Chiron is saying, heal yourself. Heal your own wounds. Aries is self. Take the initiation to heal yourself. Find your own creative talents and plug them into the collective to, create solutions to the problems, the difficulties that are affecting all of us right now. That's my 3 things.
Oh my gosh, that is a gem right there. Yeah, because it really is through healing ourselves that we can take the steps to be able to, help the world, help the collective.
One of the lessons of my practical world life is that you cannot help anyone if you're struggling yourself, right? And if in my firefighter world, like if one of us has a problem, then all the focus goes there, right? And so it's individually, it's our responsibility to be fit for duty, so to speak, right? To come to the table prepared to participate and not be part of the problem. And so I guess what I would ask everybody is, in that higher vibration of Aquarius, is to find your own power. You know, a lot of us are kind of struggling in the realm of healing our own wounds, right? We're feeling victimized. We're feeling, and many people were, right? And so find a way to heal that and step into your own authority and your own power, so that we can collectively come together and create solutions, create a new world.
Yes. Yeah, I want to mirror that. Heal yourself, step out of victim and into your empowerment. Yeah. And that's how you do it, is healing that place in yourself where you did feel victimized, so, and through that healing, you do become empowered. Right.
And I will say, I mean, it's not a one and done process. It's a continual, but it's, you just keep plugging away at it. And I don't actually think there's been a better time. I don't know. This is a wonderful time right now to do that, to step in. There's so many gaps in what needs to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about real world things. Like, I mean, everybody can see how difficult it is just to, find somebody to come fix your plumbing. There's so many gaps in what we need as a society and a culture right now. And
yeah, so true, Annie. And for a final question to leave our audience with today, what is important for people to do or focus on right now, astrologically speaking?
I would just say, as far as astrology goes, I mean, we just kind of what I just said, but if you have an interest in astrology, if you have the kind of brain that will process this, and it's a wonderful tool to go pull up your own chart. And like I said, just, follow the sun around, follow the moon around. The moon gets kind of tedious because the moon moves really fast, but just spend some time following Mars or Mercury or Venus or whatever planet is most prominent in your chart, and then really just use it as a tool for your own healing. You have to learn the art. There's so many books out there. I think I mentioned the one little book. It's a really simple book that was really fun. It's just called Use Your Planets Wisely. And I don't remember the author's name, but it really talks about, there's the higher vibration, the lower vibration, and then that, that in between place where we're at least trying to get to the middle, right? And it's a fun little book to, even if you don't want to delve into all the archetypes, it's kind of a fun book. There's 10,000 books on astrology out there. And there's, there's lots of podcasts and, information on YouTube around astrology. Just find one that resonates. And I don't know, am I allowed to mention anybody's names on here?
Of course, yeah.
One of the people I follow that I really love, her name is Molly McCord. And she has a YouTube channel, and she does a bi-weekly podcast. She puts out 2 podcasts a week on what's happening, and she's really positive. She's kind of someone who channels energy, but she's really, really, I like her a lot. So Molly McCord is one, and just kind of dig around in YouTube and find someone that resonates with you. If that, and there's many other modalities of healing. This isn't the only one. This is just it's just a tool.
Yes. It's a great tool. Annie, thank you so much for sharing with us today. This has been so much fun. A little dive into so many different aspects of astrology and into our moon today and our charts. So much fun. If somebody wants to reach out to you and have you pull their chart and do a reading for them, how would they be able to reach you, Annie?
Let's see. I mean, you could shoot me an email, I guess. My email is NTIEMM3@gmail.com. Shoot me an email.
Great.
I'm always looking for people to practice on. I am a student. I am not a professional astrologer. Like, if you really want to dig deep, like, find yourself a real live professional astrologer. I'm happy right now. I'm just kind of practicing on friends and family. So
I think you're selling yourself short. Today was awesome. And I love the wisdom that you brought to today's discussion.
cool.
Yeah. Step into it.
Well, thank you for what you do. I mean, it's like people like yourself that are getting information out, that are really kind of helping people down that path of healing that is so needed right now.
Thank you. Thanks, Annie.
All right.
Thanks for being a part of it. It's awesome. And thanks
All right.
everybody for joining me today. Annie Myers with me today.
Where do we find you? This is YouTube. You have a YouTube channel?
Yes. Yeah. So find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Raise the Vibe with Liz, and my website at lizshealingtouch.com. And thanks for everyone for joining me. I'm your host, Liz Peterson, on Raise the Vibe with Liz. And remember to get out there and raise the vibe, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Annie.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.